I've been thinking about relationships a lot lately. Not that because I'm sitting around waiting for one, quite the opposite, actually. I have been thinking about this strange idea that if you are not in a relationship, some part of your life must be missing. Like everybody else received the full package and you somehow got the trial version. Excuse me? Like, who decided that? Because I can't want mental love in my life without belonging or believing my life is incomplete without it. Those are two completely different statements. I can enjoy partnership. I can enjoy and I can desire intimacy. I can enjoy companionship, romance, sex. I can enjoy being cared for deeply. And I still wake up understanding this. My life will always and already belong to me. That matters to me. And when I say relationships in this conversation, I'm talking about romantic partnership. Will you date, love, or build intimacy with? I am not here to tell anybody what that relationship is supposed to look like. I am talking about the idea of romance. I love love. I want to put that out there. And when I'm talking about the idea that romance is supposed to become the center of adulthood, especially for women, we get these messages in tiny little ways. Sometimes they are blatant, sometimes they're dressed up like a little concern. You never got married? You don't have any children? You're still single? Do you want somebody? Don't you get lonely? My personal favorite. You're such a catch. So pretty. Thank you. Was this supposed to be a fishing tournament? What exactly are we doing with that information? Because underneath those questions can be an assumption. A woman who has not partnered permanently must somehow still be waiting for life to officially begin. And I reject that completely. My life is not a hobby, and it's not at all. I'm not sitting under a fluorescent lighting waiting for someone to call my number. There is living happening right now. There are friendships, travel, creativity, ambition, lots and lots of rest, pleasure, my family community, new experiences, very quiet mornings, ridiculously silly conversations. There are things that I'm doing and I want to build. There are places I still want to see. And this is something that I know how wholeheartedly am not alone in. There are versions of myself I'm still unfolding. Romantic partnerships can join that life, but it does not give that life or my life permission to exist. I think we need to stop treating singleness like an intermission. You are not between your real life and your future life. This is your life. Today counts. And this is where things get really interesting because wanting a relationship is not the same as wanting any relationship. The distinction gets kind of blurry, especially as people get older. There can be this sense of urgency, like time is like moving, people are peering off. Maybe somebody has divorced. Maybe they widowed. Maybe they have been single for years. Maybe they decided recently they want a companionship again. And then the dating starts. Like somebody comes in with an entire agenda. They are ready. They want commitment. They know exactly what they want and what they're looking for. They have decided what the timeline should be, and somehow their readiness is supposed to become your readiness. No, their readiness does not automatically become your readiness. That person may be wonderful, great, attractive, interesting, kind. They may genuinely know what they want. Good for them. That does not mean you are required to want the exact same thing at the same exact time. Sometimes somebody is not dating to discover you. They are dating to fill a position, and you need to know the difference. You ever talk to somebody and realize they have already mentally moved your furniture in? Ma'am, sir, they, them. We have coffee like twice. Why are you discovering joint retirement destinations? Can I learn your middle name first? Slow down. Seriously. Because companionship should not involve curiosity about the person. Not merely exhausted about that role that can fill. No, not even exhausted. That's not the word. Why did I say exhausted? Anyway, not merely enthusiasm about the role they could fill. And women do this too, by the way. Is this not one way? That is not me blaming men. Sometimes we become so attracted to this idea of having a relationship that we stop studying the actual relationship. Does this fit me? Do I like who I am here? Can I breathe here? Speak here? Am I becoming more myself in this relationship, or am I becoming less of myself? That question has become very important to me because relationships can contain good moments and still not be very good fits. That is where we get confused. Somebody can be affectionate, open doors, bring you things, send messages, remember your birthday. They make you laugh, and they can still be a large pattern that does not work. Good moments do not automatically erase a pattern that keeps hurting a relationship. And bad moments do not automatically erase either. Everything good about somebody, it doesn't. Life is more complicated than that. Sometimes the hardest decisions are not between good and evil. No. Sometimes they are between this person has qualities I genuinely appreciate, and this relationship still does not fit me. Both can be true. And I think we need permission to hold both of those truths because sometimes we stay too long waiting for enough bad evidence to justify leaving. We want a courtroom. How about some exhibits, witnesses, a dramatic closing argument? We want to be able to say, see, this is why. Sometimes you simply arrive at the truth. We are not meshing. This is not working. We do not want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. And I don't need to hate you to leave. You do not have to make somebody a villain because deciding they are not your person. Sometimes leaving with respect is more loving than staying until resentment turns everybody ugly. This is another thing I understand differently now. Sometimes we keep trying because we think trying proves love. We talk about the same issue again and again and again. Maybe things improve for a few days. maybe 2 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna give it a month. Then slowly everything slides right back into that familiar place that you were used to complaining about. And here comes a conversation again and again and again. At some point, you have to ask, am I experiencing actual change or temporary relief? Those are different. Temporary relief feels wonderful when you are exhausted. The person listens, they apologize, things feel softer. You think, okay, maybe we got it this time. Then the pattern returns, and now you are not just dealing with the original problem, you're also dealing with a disappointment because you thought it had finally changed. The cycle can keep you somewhere much longer than you intended because every temporary improvement renews your hope. And hope is wonderful, but hope needs evidence, not perfection, evidence. There is another part of relationships that I want women to pay attention to. I wrote it down. I want to make sure I got this right, but this is something that Stephanie was talking about earlier. I call it internal negotiation. Okay. You know those conversations you have with yourself because before you even talk to other person, other people, or other person. Maybe I'm expecting like too much. Maybe I'm difficult. Maybe I misunderstand or you're sensitive. You say, maybe I'm stressed. They had a tough week. They were sweet yesterday. Maybe I should wait. Maybe I should explain it a little differently with a smile. I should give them more grace. Some internal negotiation is normal. We should question ourselves. We should consider other perspectives. We should not assume we are automatically right about everything. That would be exhausting. But there's a point where reflection turns into constant talking yourself out of what you know. You saw the pattern, you felt the discomfort, you expressed the concern, and then you became the attorney, arguing against yourself. That is worth noticing. If you repeatedly read to convince yourself or that something feels okay when you're convincing yourself, there may be a reason it does not feel okay. And this brings me to what I talked about in another video called shape shifting. I really like that word for this because relationships require compromise. Absolutely, it does. Healthy relationship requires flexibility. You cannot build partnership while behaving like nobody else matters. Sometimes you can adjust. Sometimes you choose both of us. You change plans. You make room. Sometimes you do something you would not do, you know? That is partnership. But healthy compromise and shape shifting are not the same thing. Like healthy compromise changes how we do life together. Shape shifting changes who you are, who you are. Shape shifting change who you are allowed to be inside that life. I need you to remember that. There is the difference. Healthy compromises say, we both matter here. Shape shifting starts sounding like, I should not stay that around them. I gotta be careful. I want to just make sure I'm smiling when I'm speaking to him so he knows, that what he say is okay. They do not really like that side of me. I used to do that before we got together. I do not see those friends anymore. I stopped being creative, or traveling. I don't dress that way anymore. He doesn't like, she doesn't like that. I quit talking about that dream. I used to be more outgoing and laugh a lot and make things. I used to feel like I felt like myself. Pay attention to the I used to. Not because every change is automatically bad. Relationships change us. Life changes us. A healthy relationship can introduce you to wonderful new versions of yourself, but you should still recognize yourself. After being with this person for a while, you have to ask yourself, am I becoming more of myself or less of myself? How about not more selfish or rigid, but more myself, more honest, more grounded, or maybe curious? How about alive? Or I'm constantly making myself smaller so the relationship has less friction. Because sacrifices is real. There are some reasons where one person needs more illnesses, I'm going to say career change. There's a family responsibilities and financial challenges or some. Life happens. We all know this. Sometimes love absolutely requires sacrifices. But there is a sentence I want you to remember. Sometime, or no, sometime, I want you to remember this all the time. Sacrifice says, I'm choosing us in this moment. Self-abandonment says, I keep choosing us by abandoning me. Two different matters. Sacrifice has choices, can be mutual, still leaves room for your voice. Now, self-abandonment becomes a pattern. Your needs start to disappear, your creativity disappears, your friendships disappear, preferences, boundaries disappear. And sometimes nobody told you this to give you those things up. That is important to you because we sometimes blame the other person for things we slowly stop doing ourselves. Maybe they never said, stop seeing your friends. Every week it became relationship time. Maybe they never said stop creating, but you kept putting their needs first. Did they say never stop traveling? But everything slowly becomes a negotiation. Maybe they never said those things or to give up your dreams, you know? And one day you look around thinking, where did I go? This is why I do not want a relationship to become the place where the rest of my life disappears. A relationship should become part of your life. It should not become the place where the rest of your life disappears. That is probably one of the biggest things I want somebody hearing this to understand. A relationship can be important, deeply important. It should be a beautiful, important part in your life, can still have other rooms. Friendship, work, business, travel, solitude, family, learning. Oh my God, so many things. Play, your body, your spiritual path, the weird little interesting things that nobody else understands. Keep those rooms, please. You need those rooms, please. I need the weirdness. I need things that are mine. I need places where I can nerd out. I need conversations that has nothing to do with romance. Travel dreams. I need to be able to disappear into something interesting and come back like, okay, I got heard something completely unnecessary, and now you must hear about it too. That's me. That's me. And the right relationship should have rooms for that woman, for that guy, not tolerate her, room for her. It's a difference. Now I almost want to speak directly to the women who generally are in this happy place. Because sometimes empowerment conversations, like still quietly assume everybody ultimately wants partnership. Some people do not. Or they may want companionship in our traditional relationship structure. Somebody may enjoy dating intimately, sex, travel partners, bay vacations they call it, right? Friendship, affection, and still not want to merge households, merge finances or calendars or identities. It do not make their life less mature or less natural. It's not less complicated or less serious. A full life does not have one blueprint, and that's something I wish we respect more. Different does not automatically mean defiant. Maybe your full life include marriage. Beautiful. Maybe it includes partnership without marriage. Beautiful. It can include being single for the season. Beautiful. Maybe it includes being single indefinitely. Also beautiful. The question is not what does everyone else think my life should look like. The better question is, what kind of life allows me to participate fully in being alive? That is a different conversation. Who's ready for that? And I want you to talk about joy. Because I think we put impossible pleasure and pressure, no, impossible pressure, not even pleasure, impossible pressure on romantic relationships. We expect one person to become our best friend, lover, therapist, travel partner, business consultant, your emotional support person, entertainment doctor, all these things. Oh my God, confidence coach, a lot of stuff. Personal comedian. Baby, that job description is out of control. One person cannot be the entire village, and I do not think they should have to be. People can add to your joy. It cannot be responsible for creating all of it. Woo! Let me say that one more time. People cannot add to your joy. They cannot create all of it. Because what happens when they are tired or struggling and they might need something and they cannot entertain you? When they have their own life happening. If your entire emotional wounds depends on that one person constantly making life meaningful, both people eventually get exhausted. Your joy needs multiple sources. Your own company, friendship, body, creativity, comedians, curiosity, rest. Then love gets to add something beautiful. It's not carrying the whole building. So how do we actually build a full life now? Whether you are single, dating, partnered, married, divorced, widowed, it's complicated, whatever it is, you know? I had to write the questions down because I wanted to say that I have 5 questions I want you to sit with. Okay? What part of my life are alive without romance? Really answer that. Like, what excites you? Who do you love? What interests you? Where do you want to go? What do you make? What do you learn? What makes you laugh? What do you enjoy when nobody is watching you enjoy it? If you struggle with that question, do not panic. That's only information. Maybe you have spent years organizing life around other people. Now you have to meet yourself again. Question. What have I postponed until I have a partner? That might hurt. What have I postponed until I have a partner? The trip? How about the restaurant? Buying something like nice for yourself? Decorating your home? Going to events? Being out in them streets? But like starting a business? Taking pictures? Oh, God, the small stuff. Moving somewhere else? Trying something by yourself, maybe? What have you put inside that category called? When I have somebody, you're gonna say? Yeah. Is it like the category, when I have somebody, it pulls out of the file all these things I'm gonna do. Is that you call that category? Take one thing out, please. Just one. And do it now. Your future partner can join you later. But you do not have to need to postpone your own life to meet them. Next question. Who am I inside relationships? This is where we study patterns. Do I remain connected to my friends? Do I keep like creating and speaking and keep my own interests? Can you feel comfortable disagreeing and saying no and you want to change your mind? Can I ask for what I need and tolerate somebody being like disappointed without immediately shape shifting? Do not answer what you think the answer should be. Answer what history shows. I want you to think about that. Next question. Am I seeing change or temporary relief? If you have had the same conversation repeatedly, look at patterns, not promises. Not one beautiful weekend, not one apology, not one terrible argument either. Patterns. What keeps happening? What genuinely changed? Who returns? What are like both people actually doing differently? You do not need perfection for this. You need enough evidence to sometimes know whether something is moving. Think about it. The next question. If this relationship ended, who, no, sorry. If this relationship ended, would I still recognize my life? That one. Would your friends still be there? Would your interests still be there? How about your creativity, plans, sense of self? Would there be like a life like waiting to hold on to? It means you have to not abandon your entire infrastructure to be loved. Build a life that can hold love without collapsing around it. You want a life where somebody can join you deeply without becoming the only reason you feel alive. And this is one thing I want to say Sometimes we realize we are not our favorite version of ourselves. A past relationship that matters too. We do not have to tell every story as they did to me. Sometimes you look back and say, I do not like how I responded. I don't like how I communicated. Like how much I abandoned myself, or how fearful I became, or how reactive and how small, how controlling. Accountability is powerful because if every person or every problem belongs to somebody else, you have nothing to work with. But if you can say, this is what happened, this is what they bought, and this is what I bought, now you have information. The information can change your next choice. You do not need to shame yourself. You need to know yourself a lot better. This is a good place to talk about anything you have learned personally about losing pieces of yourself in side relationships, not blaming anyone, talking about creativity, travel and friendships, interests and ambitions, or noticing behaviors in yourself you did not like. Then bring it back to this question. What would I protect differently now? Like, what would you protect differently? And if you are single right now, I want you to hear me clearly. Your life is not on hold. Please stop speaking about yourself like you are waiting to be selected. You're selecting to, you are deciding to. Observing and learning and building, all those things. You don't need somebody to arrive before you become fully alive. Take the damn trip, build those friendships, stop and do the thing, start the thing, end the thing, go to dinner, learn something and rest, laugh, flirt, wear the outfit, buy the food, the extra food, date yourself. Do not date if you don't want to. Build a life that's rich for you. Come on, let's add, let's expand it. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's soften ourselves and teach ourselves. You belong inside your relationship. You do not forget that. And maybe that is what I meant when I say my life is already full. Full does not mean there is no room for anybody. A full home can still welcome somebody beautiful inside. Full means I am not asking another human being to come rescue me from an empty existence. There is already life happening here, cats and kittens. There's already love happening here. Okay. There's room for more. But more is not the same thing as completion. Oh my goodness. If this conversation has you looking at your relationship patterns, the way you may have shapeshift, or the places where you want to stop abandoning yourself, please, please, please let us know. Let me know in a comment what you're feeling. You know, if there's a need, but even if you never touched any workbook ever today, I would love for you to check out my Breaking the Workbook cycle. Take one question from the conversation. Am I becoming more myself? Use it in the friendship, romance, work, building a community, wherever it may be. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this conversation spoke to you, please subscribe to Empowerment Clique and share with someone who needs to hear this journey. Remember, people can add to your joy, but your life does not begin when someone chooses you. You are already here, so live, live, live. Until next time, keep growing, keep becoming, And let's keep creating conversations that transfer lives. I'm Nakenya, and I'll see you at the next conversation. Peace.